it a certain way and you do it your way and then mess up, I don't want to clean it up. Because that was your fuck up, not mine.
Listen, I was feeling that Jake Paul was going to knock out Tank. This press conference made me feel a little bit more confident about Tank. I'm no cap.
He done a lot in his career, right? Not everything, but he done a lot. What people don't understand is his business is a lot.
Floyd Mayweather has shared his thoughts on the potential clash between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis, emphasizing that Davis is now making his own choices, and with those choices come serious risks. I've given my advice in the past, Mayweather stated, but if it's not taken, then it's out of my hands. While expressing a degree of concern, he also acknowledged the upside. It's a great matchup for the sport, the money's huge, and I'll definitely be tuning in.
Within my company, within my team, do it my way. Because if you mess up, I don't mind being a janitor to clean up the mess because I told you to do it a certain way. But if I tell you to do it a certain way and you do it your way and then mess up, I don't want to clean it up. Because that was your fuck up, not mine.
The boxing world is ablaze with debate as the highly anticipated matchup between Gervonta Tank Davis and Jake Paul draws closer. Fans and analysts are split down the middle, some dismissing the fight as a mere publicity stunt, while others see it as a strategic move to broaden Davis's appeal beyond traditional boxing circles. As the buzz intensifies, voices from within the industry have begun to weigh in. Some insiders defend Davis's decision, citing the evolving nature of the sport and the power of crossover entertainment. Others, however, see it as a troubling sign of boxing drifting away from its roots. Regardless of where opinions fall, one thing is clear. This fight has captured the attention of the sports world, and it's not going unnoticed.
And number 3, the retirement.
I mean, the backlash is just what people do nowadays. That's just, you give somebody a keyboard, you give them a phone, and they able to hide their face. Yeah, they gonna have a field day. The backlash I get, I understand. Would you say number 2, not fight Shakur?
Yeah, he's saying he'll never fight Shakur. That he ain't gonna do him no favors. That he ain't gonna help him make no money because Shakur broke or something like that. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't get all that. That's, you know what I mean. That's against the game. Like, you know what I mean. You at least owe that fight for the game. You know what I mean. You owe the rematch to Lamont for the game, but you owe Shakur for the game just because of the 2 style matchups. You know what I mean. But if he feel like he don't gotta fight him, guess what? We can't sit here and just go crazy about it, but it is kind of.
Renowned boxing trainer Greg Hackett has voiced his frustration over the criticism Gervonta Tank Davis has faced regarding his potential fight with Jake Paul. Hackett argued that in today's climate, fighters are constantly under fire, often by people who lack any real understanding of their personal circumstances. If Davis decides to take this fight, that's his choice, and it should be respected, Hackett stated. He stressed that those outside the ring can't fully grasp what drives a fighter's decisions, whether it's financial, personal, or strategic. According to Hackett, the boxing community, and especially its fans, needs to stop trying to control who a fighter faces. Instead, they should recognize the relentless work, discipline, and sacrifice it takes to stay at the elite level of the sport. His comments echo a growing sentiment among trainers and athletes alike, that social media has turned boxing into a spectacle of constant judgment, where every move is scrutinized, often unfairly.
Like, he done a lot in his career, right? Not everything, but he done a lot. What people don't understand is his business is a lot. This whole experience is a lot. The shit these fighters go through is hard to explain. It's hard to explain because people, they can't see it, so they can't understand it. But it's stressful to the fighters because they coming from just getting ready to fight in the amateurs, being prepared, going out there, win, get it done, celebrate, all right, we back to the next camp. To now, marketing. You're talking about marketing. You're talking about lawyers. You're talking about all this shit that you just never imagined. You're like, why do I have to deal with all of this shit? People trying to keep money coming in, so they trying to come up with bright ideas. At the same time, you got a lot of people trying to get shit from you.
Sports analyst Max Kellerman has found himself at the center of heated debate following recent remarks about Gervonta Tank Davis. In several of his latest media appearances, Kellerman appeared to downplay Davis's accomplishments, claiming he was never a true champion in his division and suggesting his career lacked significant milestones. These comments have drawn sharp criticism from fellow boxing analysts, many of whom argue that Kellerman's views are not only dismissive, but also reflect a broader bias within the boxing media. Critics point to Davis's impressive undefeated record and devastating knockout power as clear evidence of his elite status in the sport. For many, Kellerman's remarks are emblematic of a deeper issue: the tendency of mainstream analysts to undervalue rising or unconventional stars while propping up narrative-driven favorites. The controversy has reignited discussions about how perception, media bias, and favoritism continue to shape the way fighters are judged in the public eye.
Because Max Kellerman is full of nonsense. Max Kellerman claims that Gervonta Davis was never a champion, that we've never been a period of time when we looked at Gervonta Davis and said Gervonta Davis is the man in that weight class. Bunch of other ridiculousness pouring out of the pie hole of Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman is one of the most biased, bought and paid for journalists that there is in the sport of boxing. And to have him back talking again on and giving his opinion again about the sport of boxing, I promise you, is not a good thing. But let's analyze what he had to say about Gervonta, that Gervonta was not ever a champion. That is ridiculous because Gervonta Davis was a champion for the IBF at 130. He was a WBA super champion at 130. He is currently the reigning WBA champion at 135. And there is no other champion in the division for the WBA at the moment. He is the only WBA champion that there is at 135. He had a portion of a secondary. The title at the time he won it at 140 was a secondary title. So if you do not want to count that, I don't know why you wouldn't, seeing as everybody else counts that belt. But okay, fine. He's a 2-division world champion. That is more than zero, Max Kellerman. Now, looking at the idea that Gervonta Davis has never been the man in that division is absolutely ridiculous because Gervonta Davis has really been the man in that division the entire time that he's there.
Never one to hold back, former world champion Paulie Malignaggi has slammed the proposed bout between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Jake Paul, warning that boxing is veering dangerously off course. Speaking during a recent discussion with fellow analyst Chris Algieri, Malignaggi argued that the sport is sacrificing authenticity for spectacle. He emphasized that knockouts only carry weight when they come in true, competitive matchups, not in manufactured fights designed for clicks and casual fanfare. These kinds of events fool the audience into thinking they're watching elite-level boxing, Malignaggi said, making it clear that while the entertainment value might attract newcomers, seasoned fans can see through the illusion. According to Malignaggi, placing social media personalities on the same stage as world-class fighters blurs the line between entertainment and sport, diminishing the credibility of boxing as a whole. His remarks highlight a deepening rift within the boxing world, one between those chasing virality and those fighting to preserve the sport's core integrity.
Knockouts, dude. Knockouts. People like knockouts. They don't care if you're knocking out cab drivers. Look at Jake Paul's career.
You can manufacture that, though. You can manufacture that, though. You can manufacture
knockouts. You can't manufacture.
To a
Gervonta
degree,
Davis.
you can. To a degree. I mean,
destroying
you can't.
Frank
Yeah,
Martin.
Gervonta legitimately cannot get knockouts. I agree. He can punch, but there's a lot of limited knockout artists, though, man.
He's one of the least active punchers in the game with the highest knockout percentage of current heavyweight.
But if he was a real knockout artist, if he was a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best of the best. Felix Trinidad was a knockout artist. He was knocking out the best of the best. If you're a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best and show us how he smokes them. But the way
Paulie,
we did when Felix Trinidad was doing it. You know, the way they did it when Mike Tyson was doing it in his prime. Say what you want about the Mike Tyson era. He knocked out everyone from 1986 to 1989. Everyone got knocked out. Everyone.
Well, by your standard, you could say that Tyson was, to a degree, manufactured.
No,
and
because
Teddy
he
Atlas
fought
100%,
everyone that was there. Everyone that was there
Teddy
at that
Ellis,
time.
Teddy Ellis will 100% agree with this
with the
because
expense
he would say
of
the guys
Witherspoon.
that were afraid of
With
him.
the exception of Witherspoon. No, but they all doesn't matter. He knocked them all out. There was nobody you could say in that era except maybe Witherspoon, who I contracted.
You can say the same thing about
who had contract issues with King at the time. Oh, except for Witherspoon, there is nobody Tyson didn't fight in that era. He knocked them all out. You can't say like, oh, but if he would have fought that guy, I don't know. No, with Davis, there's guys right now that have been hanging around for years. Yo, dude, when are you gonna fight them? The lightweight division was stacked with talent. Even at 130, it had a lot of talent when he was there. Didn't fight almost any of them. So it's not the same thing as the Tyson era. You want to say anything about Tyson era? Fine. It wasn't as high level or something. He still knocked out everyone.
While critics like Paulie Malignaggi have slammed the potential matchup between Gervonta, Tank Davis, and Jake Paul, boxing commentator Showbiz the Adult offered a notably more optimistic take, especially after witnessing the fighter's recent press conference. Initially skeptical due to Davis's size disadvantage, Showbiz admitted he once believed Jake Paul might simply be too big and physically imposing for the smaller Davis. However, his perspective shifted after observing Tank's calm demeanor, sharp focus, and professional presence throughout the event. Davis looked like a fighter who knows exactly what he's walking into, Showbiz noted. He emphasized that Tank's composure under pressure and high-level fight IQ could very well offset the size gap. For Showbiz, Davis's ability to remain locked in mentally and his proven technical skills make him a far more dangerous opponent than many are giving him credit for. He believes the fight could defy expectations, especially among those assuming Jake's power alone will decide the outcome.
I'll beat the hell out of this kid. Listen, I was feeling that Jake Paul was going to knock out Tank. This press conference made me feel a little bit more confident about Tank. No cap. I know Tank wasn't saying much, fumbling over his words, seems bashful, but I'm looking, right? And I'm just like, bro, he doesn't feel that Jake Paul is an issue. Even though he said it, he doesn't feel like he has to whoop his ass. He doesn't feel threatened. That's the word. He doesn't feel threatened, but he does feel out of his element. I'm gonna be honest, man. It sounds like, I know everybody's looking at this press conference and it's like, number one, I know what y'all saying. It's a clown show. It's not real. Tank was paid off. It's fake. Because Tank, when he was talking about Jake and JB, even I was like, what is he talking about?
He laughing.
What are you talking about? What does he have to do with this?
Let anything, you know what I'm talking about. Let anything. No, I don't have to say it right now. Don't worry about it. I don't got to say it up here. Let anything happen. And I'm going to show you and him.
So that I could understand if that's your concern. I am being extremely truthful with how I feel about this and how I'm reacting to this. My oldest son was like, I see the same thing, Dad, but you're going to get a weird response to your take.
Floyd Mayweather is once again making headlines, not as a promoter or mentor, but as a potential competitor. Rumors are swirling that the undefeated legend is actively pursuing a high-profile exhibition fight against none other than Mike Tyson. And according to many analysts, this move may go deeper than just another lucrative payday. With the spotlight currently fixed on the explosive Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul showdown, some believe Mayweather is unwilling to be sidelined, even by his own protege. For critics and fans alike, this is vintage Floyd, a master of timing who knows how to command attention and shift narratives. Observers suggest the rumored Mayweather-Tyson clash is not just about legacy or spectacle. It's about maintaining dominance in the boxing conversation. In a sport where headlines often matter as much as records, Mayweather appears determined to remind the world that he still sets the standard, as Davis and Paul prepare to take center stage. Floyd's rumored return highlights a broader truth about boxing's elite. The fight to stay relevant doesn't end with retirement. It just evolves.
And so many people that are known where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events. That's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis, Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is bigger than Floyd. Let me say Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson's bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I still think his name is bigger than Floyd Mayweather, even though I know Floyd has made more money in the pay-per-views. And I think that had a lot to do with, again, social media area and otherwise. But the combination of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson and the question about what is going to happen in that.
As the debate intensifies around the potential clash between Gervonta, Tank Davis, and Jake Paul, former heavyweight contender Eddie Chambers has stepped in with a word of caution, especially for those writing Davis off due to the size disparity. Chambers reminded fans that boxing is filled with stories of smaller, more technically gifted fighters overcoming larger opponents. Size alone doesn't win fights, he said, pointing to Davis's superior technique, speed,